All right. Well, with that, we will kick it off. Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Welcome to the first information session for this year, hosted by the United States Naval Academy Alumni Association, Greater Washington, D.C. chapter. I am the chapter president, Luis Martinez, class of 2001 for the United States Naval Academy. I am actually born Dominican, raised in the Bronx, came to the Academy by way of the Naval Academy Prep School, graduated with the class of 2001, commissioned into the United States Marine Corps, and I've been serving there since. I've switched from active duty to the reserves in 2010, and I'm currently back on active duty. I'm a reservist, but I'm currently back on active duty, and I'm serving as a major here in the Quantico area. So with that, we have, like I said, this is our first event of the year. We typically host these in person down at the Navy Memorial. However, given that we're going through a pandemic right now, we opted to do this virtually with y'all. And with that, I hope that you're all safe and sound with your families and that this isn't affecting you, hopefully at all. But if it is, that you're all in good spirits and working your way through it. So by necessity, we're holding this on virtually. The focus here is for students 8 to 12th grade. However, we're also very welcoming to have anyone, teachers, coaches, community leaders, school administrators. So welcome. I'm going to move now and talk a little bit on some tech guidance, get some of this admin stuff out of the way. While I'm doing that, you'll see 3 polls pop up. And if you could have you please answer those polls, it'll help frame our conversation for tonight so that we know who's actually with us tonight. So first poll there is, please tell us where you're signing in from. So it'll give us a good feel of, I know that not everybody's going to be from the greater DC area, so it'll give us an idea of who we're talking to. Right, so for tech guidance here, you'll see that you have a chat feature with this webinar. It is one of the most popular webinar tools out there, so it resembles anything else that if you've been in a webinar before. The chat function, that's a great way to reach out to us and pose your questions. Please pose your questions as this webinar goes along. We are planning 30 minutes of Q&A at the end of this. This event is for you, so everything that we're doing is geared to ensure that your questions are answered and you learn everything you can about our great school, right? Right now we have 2 chat monitors. It's Captain Jill Ruff and Lieutenant Commander Heidi Lenzini, who's also a blue and gold officer. And with us, you'll see 3 great guests on the screen, but we have also a 4th one who's with me here on location that I'm talking to via phone. That's Captain Marty Menez, retired, who's also going to be available to answer questions for you. Okay. Our 4 guests from tonight, in alphabetical order. You'll see there on your screen, Midshipman 2nd Class Quentin Bennett. He's class of 2022 from the Naval Academy, is a native of the DC area. Graduated from St. John's College High School in DC. He's a political science major and a part of 24th Company Rock Stars. He wants to serve select SWO and become a victim advocate out of the Academy. We're also fortunate to have with us Ms. Caitlin Brown. She's an events coordinator and constituent liaison for the office of Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton. She's been working with the Congresswoman for almost 2 years and helps to manage the Service Academy program. Lieutenant Commander Stephanie Maenza graduated from the Naval Academy in class of 2010. She has a Bachelor of Science in Chemistry and a minor in Japanese. She's a human resource officer for the Navy. She's worked in various commands throughout the East Coast, ensuring mission readiness by addressing personnel readiness issues. She returned to our alma mater and is an admissions counselor for DC students. Okay, and finally, Captain retired Martin Menez. He's a surface warfare officer and senior IT manager with 34 years of experience, half of which was on active duty, including 2 years of a retired recall on special assignment. He had 4 reserve commands, including 2 ship augmentation units, for a total of 8 years in command. He's been a blue and gold officer for the last 12 years here in the Northern Virginia area and currently serves as a chief of staff for the Secretary of the Navy Retiree Council. Right? So that's who we have with us tonight. Let's look back on our poll. So right now, wow. So we've got 4% of you are from the DC area, 37% from Virginia, 16% from Maryland, and 41% of you are outside of the greater DC area. So I'd love for you to please go ahead and, if you're outside the DC area, not that I'm discriminating against those of you that are in this area, but if you could throw in the chat where you're joining us from, that'd be phenomenal. I'd love to see how far our reach went. So the next poll coming at you here is, which are you? If you're a prospective candidate, parent, guardian, family member, teacher, high school coach, school administrator, and if none of those really apply to you, just go ahead and label yourself as a community leader. And thank you. That looks like phenomenal response. 80% of you are prospective candidates. 15% of you are parent, guardians, or family member of a prospective candidate, and looks like about 3% community leader. All right, looks like the numbers are stabilizing there. All right, perfect. So preponderance of you, heavy preponderance of you are prospective candidates. All right, and ending that poll, resetting. And the last question for those of you that are students, if you're a student with us tonight, could you tell us what grade you're in? And so we've got 12th grade, 11th grade, 10th grade, 9th grade, and high school. I'm from New York, so the 9th grade, some high schools don't have it. I understand that. You may be junior high, so that's why everything's in parentheses there for you. But let's see. All right, we've got 11% seniors, 43% juniors, 26% sophomores, 12% freshmen, and about 7% junior high. All right, perfect. All right, so, thank you. So we know who we're talking to tonight. Thank you all for joining us and partaking. Right, so I'm ending that poll now. And let's get to know each one of our guests tonight. So Lieutenant Commander Stephanie Menez, the floor is yours.
Good evening, sir, and for everyone, thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you to the Greater Washington, D.C. chapter for holding this event. And for thank you to the other panelists for being here. And then thank you to the audience. For those students out there from everywhere, this is a great first step into learning more about the Naval Academy. Like in my introduction, I am the admissions counselor for students from D.C., but I'm able to help anyone with any admission-specific questions. So I'm excited to hear your questions and hear the discussion tonight.
Great, thank you, Commander Menez. Ms. Brown?
Yeah, so I'm Caitlin Brown. I'm an events coordinator and constituent liaison for Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton of DC, and I've been managing the Service Academy program along with a colleague for 2 years now. So happy to talk about the application process from the nomination perspective.
Perfect, thank you. And Sir, Captain Menez?
Well, good evening, all. Thanks very much for inviting the BGOs that are on the line here and myself. Major, I guess this is not the point to go into what I wanted to say, but just introduction, correct?
You can say what you want to say now, sir.
Okay, Roger. Well, this has been a real experience for me over the last dozen years as a BGO, and what I hope to tell you will be useful. Were we going to get the admissions folks to speak first, or should I just launch, Major?
We can hold off on that conversation if you're comfortable with it, sir. I mean, you can. This would be just whatever information push you'd like to do just in this initial talk. Admissions just spoke. I think she kind of shared as much as she wanted at this moment. So you can expand as much as you'd like, sir.
Okay, so we're not going to go over any of the presentation, correct?
Not right now, sir.
All right. Well, then I'll wait till after that, is because some of the things that I'd like to advise the prospective candidates really are tied to items that are in the presentations. So I look forward to hearing those, and then I can comment later on some of the fine points on how best to prepare for your candidacy and for consideration as a viable competitor for the appointments, the limited appointments we have available. So I look forward to doing so later. Thanks.
Yes, sir. All right, and our star for this evening, Midshipman Second Class Quentin Bennett.
All right. Evening to my fellow panelists. I'm really honored to be here and be able to represent the Academy as a current midshipman. As already been stated, I'm Midshipman Second Class Quentin Bennett. I'm actually now 4 years deep into my Academy journey because I also went to the Naval Academy Prep School before actually coming to the Academy. I'm glad to be here with you guys tonight. I'm a poli-sci major, loving my major so much too. It's gotten a lot of good opportunities, met a lot of interesting people, and got to hear their take on their own leadership styles and learn from them. So I'm just here for any questions that you guys may have tonight about the Academy, and hopefully I'll be able to answer them. If not, I promise I can get the answer to you.
Okay, awesome. And right, see, we've got some questions popping up there, but all right, so I guess Midshipman Bennett, if you can, what we'd like to do now is I'd like for you to kind of share your experience as you applied through the Academy, and then as you progress through that, we'll take a pause, and when you hit a gate where one of our other presenters, that's their role, we'll tie into that. So I guess the flow will be, as you're sharing your experience, we'll roll over to Second Commander Maenza, and then after your talk and Ms. Brown, sir, I guess that would be the prime time for you to come in after they've kind of shared their input, and we can get the blue and gold officer perspective. Does that sound good to you, sir? All right, perfect. All right, so Midshipman Bennett, how did you, I guess let's start at the beginning. How did you decide on the Academy? How was that a decision for you? How did you find out, and how did you get started?
All right, personally for me, I did JROTC when I was in high school, but even initially then doing JROTC, I didn't even know if I didn't have the initial appeal to want to go to the academies or even go into the military after coming out of high school. I just did JROTC because at the moment it was something new for me. I ended up really enjoying it while doing it throughout my years. I didn't find out about the Naval Academy until summer of my junior year going into my senior year. So I found out a little late compared to anyone else that I knew who ended up applying to the academies, and ended up doing summer seminar actually that in the beginning of that summer, which really introduced me to the Academy and gave me some opportunities to talk to the midshipmen who were there and see fellow people my age in high school who are also going to be applying for the academies too. So I did summer seminar, and then that's what planted the seed in my brain about actually going to the Academy. And then I immediately did another summer program that took up the majority of my summer and kind of put the Academy on the back burner for me because I wanted to focus on it after I was done with the other program I was doing. So then I came back going into my senior year and I started the application process. So for people, I know a lot of people stress out about when to start the application process. You're worried about maybe if I turn in super early, I'll look more I'll look better on the applications, or if I turn in super late, there's no way I'm going to get in. I wouldn't let that deter you, whether or not you think you're going to get into the Academy, whether or not you do your application early, or maybe you're a little bit on the later side or somewhere in the middle. No matter what, whenever you put your application in, as long as it's not past the due date late, you still have just as much opportunity to get in as anyone else does. So don't have that be too much on your mind and stressing you out. But it is important to try to get on top of the application process because compared to other schools, applying to the Academy can seem like a lot.
And Secretary Menez, do you have any inputs there as far as the application process on the points that Midshipman Bennett made as far as timeliness, and what should these candidates do to make sure that they're fully prepared and ready to go through that process that Midshipman Bennett just mentioned?
Well, certainly everyone's path to the Naval Academy is different. Awesome plug for summer seminar, so thank you. For those juniors out there, you're eligible for summer seminar, and the application for that opens this January. If you aren't already getting our emails and would like to receive an email reminder that our summer seminar application opens on January 4th, 2021, in the chat, I just put the link for the request for information, so please get on our emailing list. But summer seminar is a way for students to find out if the Naval Academy is a good fit for them. It's not required for admissions necessarily, but is a great opportunity. For those who might find out later or submit later, the application process is complicated. There are a lot of documents involved. So looking to your admissions counselor, to the blue and gold officers, and relying on them to advise you and guide you through this application process. So it's a great, it's good that you're here to get in contact with the admissions counselors and the BGO network. Let's see. With some of the other questions that I'm seeing in the chat with regards to admissions, we do rolling admissions. So the earlier you can get your application to the admissions board, definitely the earlier it gets submitted, the more time you have to improve on your CFA or your candidate fitness assessment, or more time to work with your admissions counselor on how to improve your application. And then with rolling admissions, our admissions board will get to see your records sooner. And then perhaps if they see great leadership potential and want you here at the Naval Academy, to issue a letter of assurance. That's our way of doing early notification.
Okay, perfect. So we hear a couple of the points there on admissions. For Ms. Bennett, so what happened to you after you started going through the admissions process? What was the, I guess, when did you become involved with seeking the nomination, the congressional nomination? And what was that process for you? And then we'll have Ms. Brown kind of give her inputs on that.
So for me, I felt like for me personally, it wasn't that difficult going through the process of trying to get my nomination. Personally, my congresswoman was in all her staff setting out everything, made it pretty straightforward for us and like gave us pretty solid deadlines in order to meet getting everything in on time, making sure that they were available for contact if you had any questions, anything. So I would say it wasn't that stressful for me. It's just about getting on top of it and not leaving things to last minute, just making sure that you're on top of getting like your medical board stuff done, making sure that you're ready to have your interview and ready to come in for your interview. Have all your paperwork signed up like as soon as possible, as soon as those dates open up and they release those forms.
Okay. And Ms. Brown,
Yeah.
from your end, how does it look like for when you, what do you expect, and what's the process for when these candidates want to reach out to your office and seek the congressional nomination from the Congresswoman?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm glad to hear it wasn't a hard process. That's our goal. So every office is different. I can only speak for DC residents. If you're in Maryland or Virginia or somewhere else, you should definitely connect with your own representative or senator to hear about their process. But for us, we require 3 letters of recommendation, one from a math or science teacher, your high school transcripts, along with if you take any college classes, those transcripts, and a series of essays showing your, willingness to serve, your desire to serve. And we usually send those out over the summer, and then they're due in early November with interviews taking place in December. So like Quentin said, we are always around and communicative. If you ever send us an email, we try to answer any questions you might have. But our process is pretty straightforward.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Brown. And I guess the next step there, and we'll talk on Ms. Bennett. So the last point now is, when did you start talking to your blue and gold officer, and how did you find the blue and gold officer, and what was that experience like for you?
So we start the application process for there's like a certain site that you go to when you're applying to the academy that's like directly for your application process to the academy. I'm completely blanking on the name of the site. But you have your own login information that you use, and you can insert all your flyers and documentations into there as you're going about the process. And when you do that, your blue and gold officer is actually going to be assigned to you. And then from there, you can see their contact information so you can get in touch with them and have your interview with them and be able to ask them any questions about the process as you move along. So personally, I found it really interesting being able to talk to my blue and gold officer because she had actually gone to the prep school as well. She told me a lot about that before I ended up going into the prep school. So I had some knowledge about it before actually going there. So I found it really nice to have her as a resource and be able to talk to her as I was going through things.
Okay, perfect. All right, sir. We're focusing to Captain Menez, sir. If you kind of expand on what your view as you're working with candidates going through the application process after they've spoken with admissions or dealt with admissions and initiated conversation with their nominating office. What do you want to see, and how do you work with them, sir, or your team, I should say? Okay, looks like we've lost Captain Menez. Let me check something real fast. All right. Okay. Well, we do have another blue and gold officer with us. That's got him. Okay. He is back. Tapping him in.
Yeah, the audio delay here has caused a little bit of hiccup, but we're fine. Well, folks, just let me build on some of the points that have already been made. First of all, just to clarify what the role of the blue and gold officer is, it's really twofold. The first one is to guide and counsel the candidate through the process, which is pretty formidable. It is complicated and intensive, so you may need some help through it, and that's one of the two reasons the blue and gold officer is assigned to your school or to homeschoolers. The second purpose of the blue and gold officer is to evaluate the fitness of the candidate to become a naval officer and a midshipman, or actually a midshipman, then a naval officer. And so one of the 10 or so pieces of the application process is an interview that is done of the candidate and is part of that application package. The candidate doesn't see that interview, but when I talk about the elements of it in just a minute, you'll see how important it is. All the high schools have BGOs assigned, and homeschoolers have a BGO as well. I would speak to your guidance counselor on who that is if you don't know who it is. And if you come up short there, you can contact the admissions office, and specifically Ms. Kathy Painter, Painter. It's K. Her email is kpainter, Kilo, Papa, Alpha, India, November, Tango, Echo, Romeo, at USNA.edu. And he or she will tell you who your blue and gold officer is, or guide you to the person who can. The blue and gold officers could be mostly Naval Academy grads, but some of them are active duty officers, some of them are reserve officers, some of them are retired, some of them are parents, but virtually all of them are very well versed in the process and what you need to do. If you think about what the Naval Academy mission is, it begins, quote, to develop midshipmen morally, mentally, and physically. And then it goes on from there. So what we're looking for is to find out a good picture of the whole person candidate. Think of this as a three-legged stool. One leg being leadership, second leg being academics, and the third leg being physical fitness. So leadership, academics, and physical fitness. Now, when it comes time to do the interview, which will be about halfway through, maybe a little bit sooner than halfway through the process as you fill out all these documents, you ought to treat the interview as if it's a job interview. I'll say that again. Treat the interview with the BGO like it's a job interview, because it really is, when you think about it. It affects your future for the next 9 years, 4 years at the Naval Academy and a 5-year commitment. What many of us do is go to the home of the candidate to also speak with the parent or parents, answer any questions they might have, be part of the interaction between the parents, the candidate, and the BGO. And then after 45 minutes time frame, about half an hour of that, then break off to the one-on-one interview. Many BGOs spend a total of about 2 hours at the home, or now with the COVID environment, maybe some neutral place like a coffee shop or something, in talking to the parents and the candidate before the BGO starts writing up his or her input. Now, a couple of tips that from my experience and other BGOs have had through the process. One, find out who that BGO is early. And by early, I mean as a freshman is not too early. Sophomore is probably a good time. Junior, you really have to be in conversation and dialogue with that BGO, I think, to not waste time on things that are inconsequential and do the right things. The right thing that takes the most amount of time is the nomination process. So each legislator has his or her own timeline and own process. So you need to start early on that and contact the legislators and find out what that is. Nominations are done from the state where your family resides or pays taxes. Now, with military families, they may reside in one place temporarily and pay taxes in another, but your home state, your domicile state, is the one that you need to find the legislators for. Another thing you need to be careful of is about halfway through the process, you'll be asked to take a physical. This is separate from the physical fitness testing called the CFA, the Candidate Fitness Assessment. The physical itself is done by the Department of Defense Medical Evaluation Board. And their job, frankly, is to find out stuff that's wrong with you. They work for all the services and have a very standard checklist. And they are required to report on any and all imperfections. And let's face it, all of us have physical imperfections of some type, and some of them are consequential and some of them are not. Things that might be disqualifying are things like diabetes or asthma, things that you can't afford to have when you're on board a ship. But most if not many things can be waiverable, and the DoD NERB job is not to waiver, but rather to identify those things that are wrong. So here's a word of advice. If you get a letter that says not qualified, don't sweat that, because the waiver authority is the Naval Academy, not the DoD Medical Evaluation Board. So USNA is the final judge on your medical fitness. A couple of other points. Take lots of math and science, and by math I mean advanced calculus and other advanced courses, AP courses, and of course do well in them. Don't take AP courses and just do mediocre. As mentioned earlier, the summer seminar is a good way for you to see the Naval Academy and for them to see you, but it's not a disqualifier if you don't go. So don't sweat that if you were not selected for it. You want to have significant school or outside activities, but not 20 of them, just several ones that you're involved in and good at and are leaders in. So we're looking for the well-rounded person, but be a leader. A couple of the things, when you have the interview, think through what your priorities and goals are beforehand, and particularly what's your motivation and interest. The 10% or so that don't make it throughout the Naval Academy's 4 years, usually it's a problem with motivation or interest, because anybody that's selected to go there is absolutely qualified to go there. And finally, you're competing against other very high qualified individuals in this area, this geography. Look at the profile for the most recent class, and you'll see what their qualifications are. Those are not minimums; those are just the averages that you need to be cognizant of, and the caliber of persons that are admitted. And finally, at the interview, by the way, when you're treating this as a job interview, I advise you not to show up in beachwear. Okay, just treat it like an interview. As I said before. So that's all I had, Major Martinez, and we'll stand by in the chat for any questions on any of those aspects or any others. Thanks. Over to you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. I really appreciate that. All right, let me stop sharing my screen here, and now we're going to focus on you, the attendees, and handling all the questions. I see a flurry of questions coming in into our chat, so let's start chipping away at those. As you send in your questions, please be sure to send them to everyone and not privately. This way my team can see your questions and can address them. I'm going to go from the top that I see right now, and we're going to start working our way down. Jill, if you're out there and you can start throwing questions at the top, we can start handling that way. And I'll queue off until we get to that point. I'll just start seeing the questions that are there right now. Okay. First question: what if I'm unable to take the SAT before applying for the summer seminar? Senator Menez, would you feel that one?
Right. So we understand everyone's having difficulty taking the SAT or ACT. For the summer seminar application, we will accept PSATs if you have them. But definitely keep an eye on our website for any updates with regards to how we will be treating the SAT or ACT for summer seminar in 2021, when that application opens in January.
Okay, perfect. And so next question from David is the 5 years of active duty compulsory after graduating, or can you immediately go to officer candidate school? We can tag team that one, but I'll let you address it.
So graduating from the Naval Academy, yes, it's a minimum of 5 years in the Navy or the Marine Corps. And I say minimum because it depends on the job that you take after graduation. Because you commission from the United States Naval Academy, you don't have to go to the Navy's officer school in Newport, Rhode Island. If you commission into the Marine Corps from the Naval Academy, then you will have to go to the basic school down in Quantico, Virginia.
Okay, perfect. And to kind of expand that as a Marine, for those of us that commission into the Marine Corps does have an officer candidate school. However, just like Lieutenant Colonel Menez mentioned, you do not go to the officer candidate school for the Marine Corps. You would go to the basic school. Non-graduates of the Naval Academy, they would go to both. They would attend officer candidate school, and they would also attend the basic school. As a graduate of the academy, you go straight to the basic school. Okay. I go to an IB school. What impact does my MYP degree and ultimately my IB degree have on my chance to be admitted? Do you understand that question, Lieutenant Colonel Menez? I do not. I do not know what an IB school is.
Yes, so International Baccalaureate program, I'm actually an IB student, so we treat that as similar to advanced placement or AP classes. It shows us that you've undergone academic rigor. And certainly earning that degree shows us that you're ready for college level classes. So that's how we treat those AP and IB courses. Also, if you take the tests, hold on to your IB test scores, you could use them to validate courses once you get to the Naval Academy.
Okay. Next question. Thank you. Next question, Ms. Bennett. Would you recommend double majoring if you can validate a lot of your high school classes? I assume they meant validate a lot of your academy classes. Validating your high school classes isn't going to get you too far going to the academy.
Double majoring is definitely not a requirement in any way, shape, or form while you're here at the academy. Also, I saw a question like way earlier that I really want to address. Your major will not reflect what community you want to go into after graduating the academy. You do not have to be an aero major to go fly. That it does not apply like that at all. You can be a history major and go Marines. You can be a poli-sci major and go fly. Major does not directly apply to whatever you want to do once you leave the academy. When you come here, you choose a major. You should be choosing a major that you yourself fall in love with, and you can find yourself wanting to learn about that here while you go to the academy.
Perfect. Thank you. And Ms. Brown, I'd like to mention as we go through this, if anything jumps out at you that it would be a special or a consideration for you as working with the Congresswoman, please do chime in. I mean, I'm kind of throwing questions out here as I think would be the person to answer, but please don't feel slighted if I'm not making it my way. Okay. If I graduate with my associate's degree by the time I graduate high school, how will that affect my application process? Will it look good on my application? And actually, that'd be a great one for both Lieutenant Colonel Maenza and for Ms. Brown. And I'll throw you in there, Ms. Bennett, for validation purposes. But Lieutenant Colonel Maenza, Lieutenant Commander Maenza, excuse me.
So it will look good. It will be to your advantage. It certainly shows us that you are ready for college level academics. Mm-hmm. And then you may be ready to place out or validate courses at the Naval Academy. If you validate courses, double majoring is an option, but then you can minor in a language, you could study abroad, or you can even start graduate education while you're here at the Naval Academy at any local university in the DC or Baltimore area.
Yeah, and same for us. We definitely look at both the content of your courses, if they're challenging, as well as your grades. Like I said, we frequently have students that are taking dual enrollment at a local college or AP classes, so that we definitely look favorably on that as well.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Ms. Brown. And any inputs on that, Ms. Bennett, as far as the validation process? I know when I was at school, I validated all my language because my first language is Spanish, so it didn't really. It helped, but not so much. But what value in having a academic background prior to showing up to the academy, or I say post high school academic experience?
When it comes to coming in here and validating classes, I would say being able to validate some of the core classes and being able to validate some of the languages is really nice. Like there are certain classes that you come in and you have the right AP credits. You can also help you along with validation for those classes too. They help if you want to be able to pick up and focus on whatever you're majoring in, or maybe focus in on learning a different language while you're here at the academy, because you can get the core classes out of the way, then you can start choosing what type of classes you want to take earlier. Usually not during your freshman year. Like no matter how many classes you validate, you're probably still going to have core to take freshman year unless you're an absolute genius. But otherwise, you will get more opportunity to be able to be more flexible with your schedule in the future while here.
Okay, perfect. And this next question, sir, Captain Menez, if I can cue you up for it. Someone asked, how can they get in touch with their blue and gold officer in Southern California. So we do have a lot of attendees tonight that are outside of the area. How do they get in touch with their local blue and gold officer, sir? And I'll wait for you to come online, and I'll tap you in to speak. All right. Let's see. Next question. I am okay. No. Okay. I'm in my early college and will graduate with an associate in cybersecurity in 12th grade. Do I still need to take my SAT? So I guess it ties into that previous question too, Mr. Hermanza. If they have an associate, or if they have previous college experience, do they still need their SATs?
So yes, you would still need to take the SAT or ACT for this cycle. So if there is anyone out there who is applying to the class of 2025, we understand how difficult it's been taking the SAT and ACT. So we are test flexible this year, which means we certainly encourage you to take the test. If you get scheduled for them, but they keep canceling the dates, definitely let your admissions counselor know. We'll put that in the record, and then we will still review your application with or without an SAT or ACT score. But if you are a junior currently and are going to graduate high school with an associate's degree, we will still require that you take the SAT or ACT.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. A couple of questions I see pop up have to do with sports, and this one is near and dear to my heart because they're asking, does martial arts or Taekwondo count as a sport for application?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. And to share with you also, I've never played an organized team sport. I was a boxer through my teenage years, and that's what I used to apply to the academy a few years ago. All right. Let's see. Next question on down. Is it a nomination part of the application, or do you submit the application without the nomination? And if awarded the nomination, that gets delivered to the academy. So it's okay. Let me see if I can summarize that. So I guess what's the relationship with the nomination to the application? Do you need both? And how does the academy become aware of the nomination? I guess that's the way to summarize that question.
Yes, I can take that one. So yes, you need both, and it's kind of a parallel track. You apply for a nomination as well as your application to the academy. Once you either get the nomination from your senator or your congressperson or the vice president or president, our office submits our names to the Naval Academy, and then they make their own decision. So we go through our own process, make that nomination and let them know, and then they take it from there.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ms. Brown. All right. Let's see. Next question. After graduating from USNA, instead of heading to the Navy, are you allowed to go take other colleges to get a better degree? I'm going to imagine that better degree means higher. I don't think you can get a better degree in the Naval Academy, but I'm biased, right? So what options? And Ms. Bennett, what have you seen midshipmen go on to get an advanced degree after graduating the academy, before going out into the fleet?
Yeah, that is an option that we do have here at the academy. Once you're rolling into your last year, your senior year, there are different academic programs and scholarships that you can apply for, so you can move on for a higher education of learning. By higher education, I mean higher degree educational learning, like the Bowman Scholar. That's a popular one that people go up for. We actually had a couple Bowman scholars in my company, almost at least one every year, who goes up for it and gets it. So there is more opportunity to keep learning even immediately out of the academy. And then even in the Navy, you can take time off your shore tours and find a way to get a higher education there too. So there's always more opportunity to learn.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. How would one get selected for NAPS after applying for the academy? Go ahead.
All right. So you do not apply to the prep schools. You cannot directly apply to the prep schools. I can't stress that enough. The prep schools are just they're another way that the academy can roll you into coming to the academy without directly coming into the academy. So it's not I didn't apply to go to the prep school. They just told me that I got into the prep school. Is how that worked for me. So you can't apply for it, but you do get in. I highly encourage going. It gave me a whole year to really adjust to what it would be like to be in this sort of academic setting. Not saying that you don't go into the prep school, you're at a disadvantage. But if you get into the prep school and don't get into the academy, don't be discouraged.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. Can you apply as a freshman in college? I think we kind of answered that, right? Yes. Okay. What classes are more preferable, AP or dual enrollment? I don't know what dual enrollment means. That's why I'm kind of posing that question to you there, Lieutenant Commander Maenza.
Yeah, so dual enrollment, if your school has both AP and then dual enrollment with a partnership with a local college, that's awesome. Dual enrollment, you're taking college level classes, so that will look good. But for the questions that were in and around that one, I will stress that it's up to you to find that optimal balance between your academics and your leadership and your extracurricular activities, both on and off the athletic field. We do look at the whole person, so we don't want you to focus on just one area. So definitely find that balance where you are performing well in everything that you do.
Okay. We're getting quite a few questions on career selection so senior year. And that's everything from aviation, Marines, SEALs. I've seen a few questions on going to the field of medicine. Someone even asked to be a surgeon. Service selection, how does that work? And Midshipman Bennett and Lieutenant Commander Maenza, I'll kind of turn it to you two.
Okay, so with service selection requirements, like I saw JAG in there, Judge Avocation. I saw Doctor, I saw SEAL, I saw a whole bunch of different service selections that you guys were talking about in the chat. So when it comes to JAG, you cannot directly go JAG out of the academy. You could have the opportunity to go JAG once you actually go into the Navy after coming from the academy, but not direct admission from the academy. MedCorps, it's very limited for every graduating class, like under 15 people who end up going MedCorps directly out of the academy every graduating class. SEALs are also extremely competitive. You can go directly SEALs from the academy though, it's competitive, but the academy does have, out of all units, the academy gets the most amount of selections for picking SEALs coming out of here compared to other commissioning routes, such as OCS, Oxford Candidate School, ODS, and others. So you definitely have the opportunity to try to go SEALs, but if that's something that you know you want to do, just be ready to make yourself competitive with making sure that you're physically there and academically there and getting involved as much as you can with that. And overall, with just service selection in a general aspect, you don't have to pick what you want to be going to the Navy or Marine Corps until your last year here at the academy, to your first year. So you have all your time now and going through your first few years here at the academy to figure that out. So there's no reason to be stressed out coming in as a plebe, as a freshman, and thinking, oh God, what do I want to do? I have no clue what I want to do. Do I want to go Marines? That sounds cool. Do I want to go on ships? That sounds cool. You have time and you'll have plenty of people to talk to and figure out what's the best career field for you.
All right, perfect. Did you want to add anything, Lieutenant Commander Maenza?
Yes, so absolutely everything that Midshipman Bennett said is correct. For those interested in medicine, I threw in the chat a link to our website, more information about our path to the medical corps. And then you make that choice in the fall of your senior year, but all those years leading up to it, you're doing all this summer training, you're getting exposure to the different jobs available after graduating from the Naval Academy to help you refine your preferences and find that job that might be the best fit for you.
Great. And okay, it looks like the next popular question that's coming up is the Naval Academy Foundation. So we talked about NAPS and we talked about not getting direct admission to the Academy. What is the Naval Academy Foundation? And Lieutenant Commander Menez, we'll go over to you.
So the Naval Academy is affiliated with a number of foundation schools across the country. They are also prep schools. The difference is that at the Naval Academy Preparatory School is in Newport, Rhode Island. You'll be there with other students who are on their way to the Naval Academy and the Coast Guard Academy, so very maritime oriented. The foundation schools may have other services present as well. The Naval Academy Preparatory School in Newport is free. There is a cost associated with the foundation schools, but their scholarships are available.
Perfect. Thank you. And Midshipman Ben, could you share with us what clubs and sports and majors there are available at the Academy? They've changed since I've been there.
All right. So with majors, first things first, when you come here to the Academy, you don't have to be a STEM major if STEM isn't what you want to focus on. Like, there are plenty of different majors here at the Academy that if there's something that you're interested in, 9 times out of 10, you can find the major that will fall under that. Like, personally, I can do STEM, but I don't like focusing on STEM. So I chose to go poli-sci because that's the thing that just stuck out to me the most, and I felt like I would enjoy the most while here at the Academy. And so far, I have no regrets of that. I'm loving political science. It's definitely the major for me. Also, you can major in language while here at the Academy. You can't major in all the languages. Not every language is a major. The languages that you can focus on and major in are Arabic, Japanese, Chinese, and I believe that's the 3. I'm pretty sure it's only those 3. And in the other languages such as Spanish, which I'm trying to get a minor in at the moment, there's Russian, there's German, and in French, almost missed French. Those are languages that you can also just take classes in and minor in if you want to. There are plenty of majors. My roommate was a physics major, decided he didn't like physics, ended up switching to being an English major, is in love with being an English major. And on top of that, there are a wide array of majors that you can choose while here at the Academy. What do you think? I'm trying to make sure I don't miss any. There's chemistry, there's different engineerings, aerospace, mechanical, there's computer engineering, there's oceanography, you can want to be an oceanography major, history majors, English majors. There's a full comprehensive list that you can find on like the Academy site, so you can see if there's anything that actually interests you in particular that you might want to be a part of and think that might be the thing you want to major in. And also, your freshman year, you don't have to pick a major. Your whole freshman year, you're just basically doing core classes. So you also have that whole year to figure out what major you want to be as well. So you don't have to know what you want to major in coming into the Academy. You just have to figure that out your next year once you're in your second year here at the Academy. And even then, if for some reason you pick your major and then you figure out, I don't think this is the major for me, turns out this is not what I wanted to do, there is opportunity if you figure it out early enough to switch majors so that you can get into the correct major that you feel like is the choice for you. Like my roommate that I just mentioned, he was a physics major, figured out that he didn't have the base that he wanted to try to be in physics and switched to being an English major. And then when it comes to clubs, there are a wide amount of clubs that you can do here too. And if for some reason you get here and a club that you want to do doesn't exist, you can put in an application to make that club. So no matter what, you can try to find something that really interests you. Like I saw someone mention if there is a D&D club here. There isn't at the moment, but when you get here, you can make one if you really wanted to. Get a group of your friends together, find someone to help represent you. You can have that club while here at the Academy. Personally, I'm part of the YP Squadron Club. which is we have these yard patrol crafts. They're smaller ships that are over at that the Naval Academy owns and be able to use, that we take out over to Severn so that we can learn basic seaman qualifications, like how to actually navigate, how to make navigation plans for when you're actually underway on a ship, and just learn the basic things about that. And then also, I'm a SAPR guy while I'm here at the Academy. And SAPR is Sexual Assault Prevention Response, which is what our program that we have here at the Academy to help have more talk and more advocacy about sexual assault and what we can do to help mitigate that. And while here at the Academy, which is something that I personally am in love with doing, and I'm really glad that I'm a part of the program because it's something that I'm really dedicated towards and love being a part of. So that's also something that you do here at the Academy, where if you want to try to make a difference and help people learn more and be there for people when it comes to sexual assault harassment, you will be able to do that, not only here at the Academy, but also in the Navy as well, as we're trying to lead the forefront and spreading news about sexual assault.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Mr. Bennett. That was great. So I see here one point that we wanted to make is for those asking on service selection, you can also understand that once you are in the service and you're commissioned, you can transition careers in the service. So you can submit applications to become a lawyer, become well, I'm not in the Navy, but I imagine you can transition to the medical corps. So those opportunities are out there if you don't get them service selection out of the Academy. Down to our last 18 minutes here. Looks like one of the more popular questions that I'm being fed by my team is a day in the life. So this is for you, Mr. Bennett, and it's both plebe summer and it's great because you also have NAPS experience. Could you just tell us what it was like, just day to day, being a Napster, like myself and you and I, being a midshipman, especially that first year as your plebe year, and anything else you want to share?
All right, so I'll start with NAPS. Going to the prep school was, personally for me, it ended up being a really good experience. I actually came, funny enough, when I did JRTC, did Army JRTC and ended up going Navy. So that was a little bit of a different field for me. So I got to get used to what a little bit of the Navy structure is like, just because it's a little different from being in the Army structure. And the prep school helped me be able to define like my academic habits and knowing what worked for me and figuring out how I needed to study, how I needed to organize my time. So that was the main advantage and thing that I got from the prep school. It's a little bit different from being here in Annapolis. The prep school was actually up in Rhode Island. So the winters out there were very challenging, pretty harsh winters. But other than that, I really enjoyed my time at the prep school. It gave me a lot of times to think over what I want to do and how I wanted to be once I actually got into the Academy. So then going into the Academy, plebe summer is an adjustment. Plebe summer is an adjustment coming into it. There's definitely a lot to go on and to digest while going through plebe summer. But looking back on it, I enjoyed every second of it, even if I didn't enjoy it in the moment. Looking back, I have plenty of stories to tell and experience that I have with my classmates. And one of the biggest advantages that plebe summer is going to give you is that you get so close with your class that you're coming in to the summer with. Like when you first get there, I knew no one who was in my company. They were all just strangers who I had no clue what even their first names were or where they were from. But now some of my best friends are in my company and I wouldn't have it any other way. I would say with plebe summer, just make sure that running is a good advantage that you can get. Just make sure that you're used to the cardio that you're going to be doing actually during the summer and the physical challenges that are going to be wanted from you, taken from you while you're going through that, which it's not something that's absolutely undoable and brutal, but you want to just make sure you're prepared for it. Don't go in sitting on your couch all summer and think it's going to be a cakewalk, because plebe summer is definitely it's not a summer camp. It's definitely an experience. And then just going through average life at the academy, I'm going to tell you the average day of a plebe, and then tell you the average day of what it's like once you're not a plebe, just so that you get a feel of what each of those things are. So plebe year, you'll start off your day at 05:30 with most likely a morning workout with your company training staff, something where maybe doing a quick mile, maybe some sprints, and then maybe an ab or arm circuit that you go through for your workout. Get back to the hall, shower, and then do your chow calls. The chow calls are when you're on this little metal square that's in the hallway with 4 other plebes, and you're shouting out just this blurb of information that you had to memorize before about the meal, who the people who are on duty are, what the events are for that day, stuff like that. And then after you do that, you'll go to formation with your whole company. Go pass any events or word that the company has to give off to you. After that, you go down to King Hall, you get breakfast, and then you start your academic day. So the academic day usually goes from 7:45 to 3:30 with lunch in between. And then once you're done with that, we have a sports period, which is for whatever extracurricular or varsity sport or just sport that you may have for that time. So everyone here, you'll do something during that period, whether it's a club, whether it's a varsity sport, if you tried out for a team or got recruited, or whether it's going to be intramurals, which is an option if you don't do a varsity sport, or if you didn't do a club, which is where there's just a selected amount of sports that every midshipman can go to, where we have different teams of mids playing against each other. So there's kickball, there's volleyball, there's ultimate frisbee, there's swimming, there's cross country, so if you want to run. So there's always an option or something to do to keep yourself physically fit during sports period. Or if you have an off day, you can also just work yourself out. And we also have 2 gyms that are here in the yard that are accessible for midshipmen to use all throughout the day. So you always have a chance to improve on the physical mission. And then after that, there's dinner also at King Hall. You can have every meal served at King Hall. You never have to go out to get anything to eat. You can always go to King Hall and get something to eat. And then after that, we have study period, where you'll use that time for any academics that you have. And then any in-between time is just what you decide what you want to do. Like personally, a lot of people, when they have free periods, if they want to catch up on sleep, take naps. You want to catch up on work, you do extra work, and stuff like that. But that's mainly an average day just for really any midshipman. The only difference for plebes is that there are small mandatory things that you may have to do just for training. But other than that, every midshipman has a pretty similar day when it comes to the scheduling and structure.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Mr. Bennett. All right, the next question it'll be for Lieutenant Commander Maenza and for Ms. Brown. So we have quite a few questions coming in regarding applying. So these are U.S. citizens or dual citizens. They're either applying overseas. What are their considerations? And Ms. Brown, with that, this would be people that probably are military and have their parents probably have BDC getting their nomination. And the add-on question for you would be also along these lines: is how do candidates know that they have received a nomination? So for the first part, as far as applying from overseas and dual citizenship, Lieutenant Commander Menez, if you can start us off, please.
Okay, so just have to be a U.S. citizen by the time you apply, or by the time you come to the Naval Academy. So by induction day. I was a dual citizen, so in public, I had waivers saying that if something happened, I would give up my other country's citizenship and I would remain just a U.S. citizen. And that wasn't an issue. For those who are applying from outside of the United States, we have an admissions board member who is specifically trained in international education, who can then translate the education you've had at an international school and maybe equate it or normalize it to compared to the other students who are applying from within the United States. And over to Ms. Brown about the nomination process.
Yeah, so every year we have students who are living abroad either because their parents are active duty military or they're living abroad for whatever reason. As long as their parents are a DC resident, whether they vote or pay taxes or own property in the district, they would go to us. And same thing, if your parents were a Maryland or Virginia resident, you would go for that to your congressperson for nominations. So like I said, we have that every year. The only thing is just be active on your email because we can't call you to communicate with you if you're abroad. And then to the second point, how you'll find out if you have a nomination. In our office, the congresswoman will call you directly and congratulate you, and we'll follow up with a letter letting you know that you got that piece from us. And then, like I said, the Naval Academy continues on their process. So you'll definitely know from us usually by Christmas or early January, so you'll know pretty soon after you complete the process.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, so we're down to our last 8 minutes here, and I'm trying to summarize a couple of big ones here. So Lieutenant Commander Maenza, would you say that a rule of thumb is if they are playing a sport, let's say any sport, a recognized sport that's organized in some fashion, would that qualify as a sport for application purposes? I know that's a very broad question, but it's been a very broad range of questions asking very specific things.
Yes, so we will accept any sport. But again, as Ms. Ruff has been saying, we look at the whole person. So, and what we're looking for is leadership. So leadership in your academics, in your extracurricular activities, both on and off the athletic field.
Okay. And let's see. This is a fun one. Do you get to travel? Midshipman Bennett, that wasn't an opportunity when I was at the academy. It was before I was there, but has that come back? Is there an ability to travel while at the academy? And I'm imagining that'd be the summer sessions where we'd have those.
So for traveling opportunities while here and going to the academy, there are a lot of opportunities to usually. Right now, things are still up in the air due to the current situation we're in with COVID. But normally with the academy, there are lots of opportunities to actually be able to travel and experience different things. Even things simple as we have the Service Academy Exchange, where you could experience a semester at one of the other academies. So you could transfer over to USAFA for a semester or to West Point for a semester and see what those academies are like. There are opportunities to send semesters or summers abroad, whether it be for classes, so you can go there for a language that you're either majoring or trying to minor in, or just want to learn more about the culture. There are plenty of opportunities to apply during the academic year for those summer opportunities. And then in general, usually for summer trainings, there's a lot of opportunity to be stationed on ships or submarines or units who are deploying in different places across the world, whether that be last summer I had a friend who was stationed in Spain, had a friend who ended up going to Egypt, had a friend that went to Japan. Just a wide amount of opportunities that you could have travel-wise while here.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Bennett. So, okay, as we're wrapping up here, the last question, and this will be kind of for everyone on the panel, and it's a little broad, so answer it however you can, is what advice do you have for these students as in our closing remarks here as to how to be strong at applying? And along with that, it's reapplication into the academy, and also what happens if from the time they went to summer seminar to the time that they actually submit their pre-candidate questionnaire, if they've gotten better. So it's just kind of that, if you can show some marked improvement, what advice do you have for them as, you know, towards the end game or early on in their high school career to have the best chance at being accepted? And we'll go around, we'll go the way we started, Midshipman Bennett, then Lieutenant Commander Maenza, and finally with Miss Brown.
So one of the biggest pieces of advice that I'd say I was given while applying to the academy that I think still applies to really anywhere that you're applying is when it comes to applying to the academy, everyone that applies and everyone that the academy knows is applying, 9 times out of 10, they know that you're all great in some way, respective shape or form. Like you have awesome grades, you do this varsity sport, you do this thing, you do that thing, et cetera, et cetera. It's one thing just to list out like, oh, I have this GPA and oh, I do this varsity sport. It's important to set aside what makes you you, what makes you different, what sets you apart from everyone else. Like it's one thing to list out numbers and say, oh, I did this, no, I did that, but putting more substance behind that. Because the academy isn't just about who has the highest grades or who can have the fastest mile and a half or most push-ups in the certain amount of time. It's about the whole person, which is something that we talked about a lot tonight with mentions of that. So it's about different opportunities that you have with giving back to your community or different leadership opportunities that you were able to excel in and apply for and gain that experience from. So make sure that you're really around, like getting your whole experience, just not within one frame. Not just the physical, not just the mental, but the whole person. Make sure you're getting as much opportunities and experience as you can while you're still going through the application process.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Lieutenant Commander Menez.
So absolutely what Midshipman Bennett said, that whole person. And I think some of our moderators in the chat have also mentioned it, because we're looking at the whole person. There's no silver bullet or magic formula how to get admitted to the Naval Academy. But for those 8th, 9th, and 10th graders out there, great job starting early. I would like to put a plug in for our summer STEM program. So applications for that open in June. It's 6 days here at the Naval Academy. You'll eat in our dining hall, stay in our dorms, but then do experiments with our professors in our top-notch laboratories. It's a great STEM experience and gives you a window into the academic life of our midshipmen. So for the 11th graders, great start as well. Apply to summer seminar. The application for summer seminar is the preliminary, it functions as a preliminary application to our college. So if something changes or if you improve from your summer seminar / preliminary application to the college application, which opens in May, right, you'll have the opportunity to document those improvements. Another thing to look out for if you're starting early in the underclass realm, if you're an 8th, 9th, 10th grader, pay attention to your math track. We recommend calculus, at least pre-calc, before graduating from high school. Also exposure to chemistry and physics with a lab. So take a look at those things. And then if you don't get accepted into the Naval Academy your first time, definitely try again. Reapply until you are 23 on July 1st of your plebe year. That's our max age limit, so definitely reapply. My roommate from the Naval Academy actually finished 3 years of college and came to the Naval Academy because that is where she wanted to be.
Awesome. Great. Thank you. All right, Ms. Brown.
Yeah. So echoing what the other panelists have said, we want to get to know you as a whole person, not just your academics, but also your activities, and what makes you want to go to a Naval Academy. That's one of the most important things for our board, is looking at why you want to go. And then you're the one applying, not your parents. So if you have questions, you should email us early. Email me anytime. We're there to try to help you through the process. But we don't want to talk to your parents. We want to talk to you. Is one of the most important things for us. So if you have any questions, I put our email in the chat. I'm happy to try to see if what we were able to help with.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Brown. Okay, turning it over to Captain Menez. Here you go, sir.
Thanks, Major. First and foremost, I would advise to get to know your blue and gold officer early. By the time he knows about you and have been notified by the Naval Academy. It's already almost senior year, maybe the end of junior year. So the more proactive you can be in seeking him or her out, and taking advantage of the advice and counsel that he or she has, the better. That's number one. Number two, it's already been said a couple of times, but I'll reiterate: take the highest math that you can and do well in it, and science, particularly math. And then third, the nomination process is, first of all, the long pole in the tent. It's probably the longest process. And some of the legislators close out their processes in September, October timeframe. So you need to get an early start on it at the end of your junior year and latest the summertime. So jump on that is one of the first things that you do. Over.
All right, thank you, sir. And thank you, everyone, for coming in tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. If you have any more questions, please go to the USNA.edu website, get all your questions answered there. You can also find your blue and gold author and refer to them. But I imagine refer any questions to the admissions office. If you know anyone that has connections with the Greater Washington, D.C. Alumni Association, we're also here to serve. We may do more functions like these and start doing visits to schools. So if that's something that for any of the educators or parents out there, if you would like to see vets or academy grads come to a high school, then please reach out to us at contactus@usnagwc.org. Again, that's contactus@usnagwc.org. And we're looking to start something like similar like that to just get more word out in the community about the academy and help answer all these questions. We were all very engaged tonight. It was an absolute flurry of questions coming at us. Hope we addressed, if not all of them, most of them. But thank you again for tuning in, and keep looking on our Facebook and our website for more information if we have another one of these. You can expect or hope that this COVID passes, and next spring that we will take those of you that were accepted to the academy and hopefully have a luncheon to recognize that great accomplishment. And we usually have a luncheon where we recognize all the acceptees, or that's the word, from this area there. So thank you so much, and have a great evening and a good night. And thank you to our panelists as well. Jim Bennett, keep at it, brother, and keep doing well. Commander Maenza, thank you so much. Commander Maenza, thank you so much for joining us and for all the work you're doing out there. And Ms. Brown, definitely not understated. We appreciate you taking the time tonight to share all that. You hopefully have the Rubik's Cube and all this. It's the challenging what is going on with that, and we thank you for making the time. And lastly, and definitely not least, sir, Captain Menez, thank you, sir, and your team of blue and gold officers. Thank you for being with us and helping us answer questions on the call tonight, sir. But good night, everyone.